For a lot of us, the gym is one of those predictable places. It's almost a safe space. You've got your routine, you see the same faces, and everyone's kind of operating under this shared, unspoken social contract. But what happens when someone just shatters that contract? When a familiar face suddenly becomes a source of dread? Let's get into what happens when the gym stops feeling safe at all. Wow. I mean, that one sentence just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that terrifying feeling when a casual connection spirals into something obsessive and scary. It's that moment you realize a boundary hasn't just been crossed, it's been completely erased. So, to really understand how things can go so wrong, we have to start with the baseline. We all know the unspoken rules of the gym, right? It's its own little social ecosystem with a very specific etiquette. Yeah, you know the deal. The quick head nod to the person you see every Tuesday morning, asking for a spot on the bench. Maybe you even swap Instagrams as someone you've chatted with a few times. It's all part of this comfortable, predictable rhythm. You acknowledge each other, sure, but mostly you keep to yourself. It's a low-stakes, easy social setting. But it's in that exact setting that things can start to feel, well, off. We're going to dive into 3 different stories where that comfortable familiarity slowly curdled into real fear. So let's kick things off with a guy named Nolan. He met another guy at the gym, Josh, just another regular, and at first it was totally normal. A spot here, some basic gym top there. But then Josh's questions started getting a little too personal, a little too fast. Where do you live? What do you do for work? It quickly went from friendly to feeling like a full-blown interrogation. And that is red flag number 1, this kind of hyper-social behavior. And this timeline shows you just how quickly things can escalate. Week 1, it's a totally normal gym acquaintance. But by week 3, the DMs are nonstop. Then they hang out for the first time, and Josh reveals this whole other personality. He's loud, inappropriate, and doing these bizarre cartoon voices. By the next weekend, he's being flat out deceptive, lying to get Nolan to come out to a bar, and then gets super unsettling when Nolan tries to leave. Every single step is a bigger and bigger violation of social norms. Okay, now for a totally different story. A guy named Louie is at the gym with his buddy Colton, who had just broken up with his ex-girlfriend Addie. What's so wild about this slide is the contrast. Normal post-breakup behavior, you avoid your ex, you ignore them. But Addie's behavior? Oh, she shows up, stares constantly, doesn't even use the equipment, and then makes this huge scene in the locker room. This isn't heartbreak, this is a performance, and it's designed to intimidate. In our third story, the red flags are way quieter, and honestly, maybe even creepier. A woman starts noticing this one guy at her gym. At first, he's just kind of in the background. She sees him while she's doing squats. He's just there. A few days later, she's over at the shoulder press. And there he is again. Across the room, sitting on a machine, but he's not actually using it. He's just watching. And then it happens again. She's at the lat pull-down machine. And then again after that. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. And the weirdest part? She never, ever sees him actually work out. He just sits on different machines, always with a perfect line of sight right to her. It all comes to a head in this really startling moment at the water fountain. She turns a corner and suddenly he's just standing there, only a few feet away. He looks down and walks right past her without saying a word. That silent presence isn't just in the background anymore. It's a direct, deeply unsettling intrusion. Okay, so for all 3 of our stories, the situation has moved way past weird and into deeply uncomfortable territory. And now we hit the point of no return, that moment where strange becomes overtly, undeniably threatening. And as you'll see, each story has this one single climactic moment where the danger becomes crystal clear. For one, it's a whisper. For another, a knock. And for the third, a chase. For Nolan, it happens at his house. He's in his room when he hears his name spoken in this low, creepy voice from right outside his window. It's Josh, using one of those weird, performative voices, only this time, he's at Nolan's house. He even sees a shadow, a figure, standing right there. The gym acquaintance has just become a home invader. And this one word perfectly illustrates the deception. Nolan messages Josh, point blank, "Are you outside my house?" The reply he gets back is just a single word. No. No explanation, no "what are you talking about," just a single, impossibly suspicious denial. For Louis, the threat comes right to his front door. It's Colton's ex, Addie. But it's not just a polite knock. It's aggressive banging on the door. The doorknob is shaking violently, like someone is trying to force their way in. And then comes this absolutely chilling detail: hysterical laughter. She's not just angry, she is enjoying the terror she's causing. And then this text message shows up. It's from a random number, but it's clearly Addie, telling him to leave Colton alone. The message itself is threatening enough, but then comes the second text. It's just a picture of a knife. The threat is no longer implied, it's explicit, and it feels immediate. And for the woman from our third story, the silent watcher finally makes his move. She's out for a jog on a nature trail and notices a man behind her. And as you can see on this chart, every single time she speeds up, he perfectly matches her pace. It's this terrifying game of cat and mouse that escalates into a full-on sprint as she runs for her life back toward the street. So the immediate danger might pass, but the psychological impact, that doesn't just go away. That fear lingers, and it fundamentally changes how you see the world and your place in it. And this table just lays out the real-world consequences so clearly. Nolan has to change gyms, he installs cameras, he even gets his tire slashed. He doesn't even feel safe in his own room anymore. Louis presses charges, but he's left with this deeply unnerving question of how on earth Addie found his address. And the narrator becomes, in her own words, a whole lot more paranoid, always looking over his shoulder. Their basic sense of safety is just gone. So how do you even respond to something like this? Well, this chart shows the typical paths people are forced to take. They change their whole routine, they beef up security, they withdraw from social situations, and sometimes they seek legal action. The one common thread is that they have to completely alter their lives just to try and get back a sense of security that was stolen from them. So, I think the crucial point here is this. We think of danger as something that happens in dark alleys, right? Not under the bright fluorescent lights of a 24-hour gym. But what these stories prove is that the most ordinary, everyday places can house some truly extraordinary threats, and that a friendly face can sometimes be hiding a really dangerous obsession. And that really leaves us with a pretty unsettling question to think about. The people you nod to, the faces you see in your daily routine, how well do you really know them?